All right. So since the COVID virus started back in early 2020, the world has seen number of variants uh, due to the mutation of the virus. So we saw alpha, beta, then gamma, delta, especially delta variant. It's uh, affecting a lot. It's harming and it's taking away many lives because it's much more severe compared to previous uh, variants. So in this video, I'm not going to talk about Delta, but I recently came across all the news, all the websites. There was an outbreak of a variant known as Epsilon. So as a non-medical expert, as a normal citizen from Asia, so I'm curious about knowing this variant because at some point this epsilon variant gonna pop up in my home country. So it's always better to be educated about everything is uncertain in this current world. So knowing about facts and knowing about existing knowledge always helps you. So in this video, I'm gonna share my uh, journey or my data exploration over the internet to find uh, what is this epsilon variant, when was it first discovered, and should I be worried? Uh, what are the threats? How harmful it is? So I welcome you all to walk through this video, and probably at the end, just like me, you will uh, learn about this epsilon variant of COVID-19. Going to websites, let's take a quick look at this video and see what are the experts are saying about this variant.
The highly contagious Delta variant of COVID-19 continues to surge in populations with low vaccination rates. Doctors are looking more closely at the origins of another variant.
This one started right here in Southern California. Circle of Health reporter Denise Dedor explains why learning more about this variant is so important.
The Epsilon variant is a foe we've met before.
It is the one that originated here in Southern California that we discovered.
When Dr. Jasmine Plummer and her colleagues at Cedars-Sinai identified this dominant variant during our relentless winter surge, it was known as B1429, or the California variant. It was far more infectious than its predecessors. Now, University of Washington researchers have unlocked its secrets.
Mechanistically, it's really important to understand these mutations.
Scientists identified 3 changes in the spike proteins of the Epsilon variant. One affected the receptor binding domain. The other 2 mutations affected the N-terminal domain. The bottom line, researchers say these mutations can weaken our current vaccines by up to 70% and sidestep the naturally produced antibodies a person forms.
So according to that video and according to Wikipedia, this variant was first discovered in California back in July 2020. And it also called as California 20C. Right now, I'm in India.com website, and it also, let me quickly take a pencil to annotate. So it also mentions that this variant was first identified in California back in 2020. And it is highly transmittable. And as I mentioned earlier, even though this was first discovered back in 2020 July, I came across this variant more recent. And the reason for that is since I'm from Asia, this recent outbreak in Pakistan was the reason. So that's where the Asia started to worry about this COVID variant. And also, especially since India suffered by huge spike in both uh, number of cases and daily deaths due to COVID in previous months due to Delta variant. The India is more concerned about this variant because it is not that easy to uh, go through another deadlier wave because we also the visuals coming from India news, those were horrible. People lost their lives because of shortage of oxygen. So that means the Delta variant affected the lungs far more severely compared to previous variants, alpha, beta. So according to the websites, this epsilon variant is also uh, similarly severe or far more severe than the delta. Just like I mentioned, but though we are seeing this epsilon variant for the first time is in South Asia, this variant was previously identified in 34 nations other than US. So the epsilon variant has a history. Sticking to the India.com website, and it tells right here that according to a study done by the University of Washington, the variant has been found to be 20% more transmissible than the existing uh, strain. So that means alpha, beta, probably gamma, because in here it is mentioning that uh, it is almost highly transmissible as the Delta variant. And as I mentioned earlier, Delta variant caused a huge spike in both daily positive number of cases and the not just India, the entire world lost many lives due to Delta variant. It's still affecting and it's now spreading in America and Europe. So the Delta variant is still affecting the entire world. So the variant we are interested in, which is the Epsilon, it is almost similarly transmittable as the Delta variant, according to the study done by the University of Washington. As I mentioned earlier, since the COVID pandemic came into the discussion back in early 2020, ever since then, there has been various COVID variants popped up from different places. So as you can see here in this chart, it's like the Greek alphabet is running out of letters because there are alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, log, iota, kappa, lambda. Who knows? Maybe by tomorrow, by next week, there'll be a new one. So even though all these mutations of the COVID virus are coming to the discussion, as humans, we always had a hope and we still have this hope with the vaccines. There are plenty of vaccines that are already uh, helping people to uh, face this global pandemic. So now I'm going to look at how the vaccines respond to this epsilon variant. So let's jump into another website, real quick. All right. Right now, I'm in Desert News website, and this is an article published on 5th of August 2021. Our interest is to find out how the Epsilon variant respond to excessive vaccine. So, according to research, uh, the Epsilon variant, which was, as mentioned, discovered earlier in California, and now it's certainly popped up in Pakistan, is resistant to all available vaccines. So that is worrying. And this is coming from the India.com website, which we referred earlier. All right, here are the information that we are interested from that earlier mentioned study conducted by the University of Washington. So according to that, this epsilon variant is 20% more transmittable compared to the previous COVID-19 strain. And we earlier saw that it is almost similarly transmittable as the Delta variant. And also, it is mentioned here. So moving further down, the most interesting finding of this study. So this mutation reduces the neutralization activity of 14 out of 34 neutralizing antibodies specific to the domain, including the clinical stage antibodies. But that means antibodies created by the vaccines are not neutralizing the epsilon variant to a considerable level. So that is a worrying fact because, and it also says that including clinical stage antibodies. So that means this, they tested this epsilon variant against vaccines that are still at the clinical stage. So that means even though we are vaccinated, we need to be much more careful because, so I hope just like me, you also learn about this epsilon COVID variant and why we should be more careful, even though we got the vaccine, even though we got the both doses of the vaccine, because how deadly this epsilon variant can be. So I guess throughout the video, just like me, you also learned about these facts. So if I summarize the facts I learned from the internet throughout this video. So this epsilon variant is nearly transmittable as the Delta variant, which is currently affecting the entire world. And we know how deadly the Delta variant can be because we saw the impact of Delta variant just few months ago at India. So this epsilon variant is also capable of causing some kind of huge impact like that. Also, according to that study conducted by the Washington University, this epsilon variant is mutated to a level that it is not responding and it is kind of resisting the antibodies created by both existing vaccines and also the antibodies created due to previous infected of coronavirus. So that means if this variant pop up in my country or in your country, it is really important to be extra careful and to follow the guidance, follow the uh, health precautions to uh, stay safe from getting infected. So these are the important facts I learned about the Epsilon variant by this quick internet search. And I'm hoping to bring more videos like this. Yeah, I search about some topics that I am curious about, and hopefully you might be curious about same one. So I'm gonna share the journey that I searched through the internet to find information about those topics, facts about those topics in future videos. So I really appreciate you subscribe to the channel if you are interested in these kind of videos, and also plenty more stuff coming in the future. So thank you so much for joining in this video, and stay safe. Follow all the guidelines and stay away from public places and all the mass gatherings. Let's defeat this COVID threat from the world. Thank you very much for joining with me. Hope to see you soon.